Hello, hello. NFL season is here, and best ball season is not dead. What a time to be alive. I remember in early May, I start writing best ball content. I start doing best ball streams, and I'm thinking, oh man, this is crazy. $1 million to first on Underdog Fantasy. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited to draft in Best Ball Mania 2. And then flash forward several months, and there's the Puppy 1, and that fills in like a week. And there's the Puppy 2, and that fills in like a week. And there's Puppy 3, which nearly filled, and it was the biggest contest of all time for Best Ball. And DraftKings has $1 million contest. And there's the Big Dog, which filled, and there's, a bunch of different contests on DraftKings, and now we have NBA and we have NHL. We have a freaking week 2 contest on DraftKings. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Hello, Nick. Hello, Nick. Jake. Cheers. This is the first beverage I've had in a few days. Went to Philly for opening weekend. DraftKings, it was the DraftKings Baseball Live Final, which please do not ask how I did. It was not good. Very poor. My teams were very poor. So I didn't win $1 million. But we were in Philly, and then in Philly for the week 1, hanging out. Got to go to the link, actually, and watch the games. They had rented out the link, which was pretty sweet. Drank way too much, though. Drank too much. And my NFL Week 1 teams for DFS were not very good. So that just created more drinking. And so I'm going to stomach this beverage. But it was a little bit of slow moving on Monday. It was a little bit of slow moving. Best Ball literally changed my life for the last 5 months. Heard that. I mean, one thing... yeah, it's okay. The Hard Eyes is cool. Hard Eyes works. Yeah, so 2 things. I'll hit this one first, Jake. It's fascinating to look back, and it's easy to say, if I knew what I know now, what I would have done is just all my Best Ball Mania teams early and never stopped. Like you said, never took my foot off the gas. But my thought was that was the contest. Like maybe we would get something else, right? Maybe like one of those puppies or something like that. But the thought was like this thing was that was it. That was the thing we were going to talk about for months was Best Ball Mania 2. And I wanted to kind of have bullets left in the chamber. I didn't want to have all my teams done in, June. And I look back now, knowing that we had all these puppies, that we had the Big Dog, that we had DraftKings, we had drafters, there was no concern about like you said, running out of contests when we got to like the core of draft season, and especially like doing content like I'm doing. I didn't want to like be doing like only private drafts or something. But now, lesson learned for next year. I do think it'll be interesting and create a fascinating strategy for next year because, I wonder how people will approach it, knowing that we're going to get. If we thought this year was crazy, shit. Wait till next year, man. It's going to be a really interesting. I haven't thought enough about it. We've talked about it on here. That my strategy will definitely be like probably the top heavy $1 million to first. I'm cool with like burning that money basically. But I want to draft, give me how many Darrell Henderson, how many early Darrell Henderson teams, how many, whatever, I'm kind of cool. Like you could have been drafting Elijah Mitchell back then, actually. Probably not Tyson Williams, but I'm cool not having Tyson Williams if it means I can have these insane super teams. especially on underdog. Especially on underdog. I've been back and forth. I drank a ton when the pandemic started, then took a few months almost completely off. Now I'm back to drinking nightly, but only 1 to 2. Yeah, that's the problem. Football season gets here and the weather is like so perfect. The weather is beautiful. It's football weather. And like all I want to do is go fire up the grill, pour a drink, turn on a football game, maybe do a draft. Now that we have all these drafts available to us, it's tough. It's tough. It's very tough. One of the toughest things is figuring out how to be an adult and not overindulge. Right. It's kind of like how it is with basketball drafts, DFS, whatever. Right. Managing your bankroll, being smart about all that. But so these sites, are you guys playing any of these? I know you guys were. I know you guys were, deep, obviously into NFL. Are you only focusing on some of these in-season NFL contests? Are you going to do any of the NBA or NHL stuff? What's kind of your plans for that? Shout out Matt Waldman. Yeah, I will say some people were in the Discord talking about Tyson didn't play. Tyson, I still call him Tyson. They were saying Tyson. Maybe it is Tyson, but it looks like Tyson to me. So I'm just going to say Tyson. Tyson was very clearly to me the best back in that backfield. As a Latavius Murray bag holder, is one of the king Latavius Murray bag holders. I think that's Herzig and I. Herzig and I are holding those Latavius Murray bags. I was obviously happy, and it's also sick to see teams where I'm using the Latavius Murray score. That doesn't feel very good. But Tyson was very, very clearly the best back in that backfield. Like not even close, I think. And I would feel. What do you guys feel is a bigger edge? Tyson, like having Tyson, he's not super owned in like Best Ball Mania 2. Or having, Henderson. Henderson's got to be a bigger edge, you think, but also the 12th round Henderson teams are earlier. I'm fascinated to see what, like, kind of how the year plays. I hope like some of these guys stay healthy because I want to see what, the James Robinson versus Tyson versus Darrell Henderson versus whatever, Elijah Mitchell. I want to kind of see how that thing plays out. You know what I mean? Hold on, let me retweet this. But this is nice. A couple early shares in the 20th round of Tyson. That's real nice. I wish I had that. I mean, I actually started getting my fair share. The funniest thing is I have the most Tyson in the big dog. I was just drafting Tyson every time I could in the big dog. The worst part is I have one team that's in first in the big dog, only one out of 10. He's not on that. It's a 0 RB team, and I didn't get Tyson on it. I used Melvin Gordon and Devin Singletary scores last week on a 0 RB team that's in first in the big dog. I agree. But anyway, I was talking about somebody was saying like, he wasn't playing at the end of that game, and Latavius was playing, and that's when Latavius kind of sucked out, which was sweet. But I mean, it's pretty clear to me that Tyson is the best back in that backfield. I feel like pretty much focusing entirely on DFS now. I really want to get into these underdog in-season contests. I totally agree, Nick. I'm trying to work on. I'm finalizing like a content schedule, but new contests and new sports and stuff keep dropping. That's making it a little bit difficult to get something totally finalized. However, I want to do a battle royale stream for underdog, maybe on Fridays. try to get something for that going. But I also think these in-season best ball contests, like I wouldn't sleep on that. I wouldn't sleep on these. Like if DraftKings is going to keep launching these, this week 2-1 is like crazy. I think it can be crazy profitable. And the other good thing about these in-season best ball contests that I like is like, if your portfolio had a ton of Raheem Mostert or a ton of J.K. Dobbins or a ton of Cam Akers or whatever, you can, or a ton of Gus Edwards, right? You can still continue to build in enough upside with these in-season contests and still kind of like always be live, you know what I mean? And then react to the news and all that. So I think it's a really fun having this spread out portfolio from April or May to all the way through, week 8, week 9, when they keep launching these contests. I think is actually a really smart way to do it too. How do you say your name? Cedrifref. I apologize for butchering that. But just NBA. I'm getting deep in these NBA streets tomorrow at noon Eastern. First NBA best ball draft stream tomorrow. Gonna draft an underdog team tomorrow at noon Eastern here. Like and subscribe. Spike Week, all that fun stuff. Yeah, I don't know, man. Sad riffraff or sad riffraff? But thank you for joining. I hope I'm legitimately like really excited for the NBA stuff. I'm legitimately really excited for the NBA stuff. I think that welcome, John. Yeah, starting tomorrow, baby. Starting tomorrow. I'm like, I enjoy, like, I love the NFL. Football is my favorite sport. But I've gotten really, really into basketball. But even studying the sports aside, basketball was my first love. I thought I was, every kid. I'm a 6-foot white kid, so I didn't really have much of a chance. But you think, like, I was pretty decent when I was young, and in high school and stuff like that. You think you're going to go play college basketball and all of that. I did play basketball my freshman year of college, but you think that basketball is going to be your thing. Basketball is my first love. I grew up in the MJ era. I didn't really like MJ, but I grew up in that era, and so I always loved basketball. But my dad was a high school football coach. He was my high school football coach, and football ended up being my best sport. I played college football, and so football has always been like a burning, like the sport I love the most. I love the strategic elements to like gambling on football. But I've loved the NBA product a lot lately. And what I ultimately love about like this best ball thing and all that is just the strategic elements to it. Like there's already awesome discussion going on in the Discord around like this, dude, this is, I know they had it last year, but it was small. And like, this is so new, man. Like for everybody, like I don't have all the answers. I'm putting out content, basically just like what I'm thinking about and the strategic elements of what and then it'll probably change. It changed in football from when I first started doing content to when we got close to the season, because we just get smarter, right? But I'm like fascinated by what, like some of the strategic elements of this totally new and unsolved game. And the NBA one is really interesting because, I think we definitely haven't solved NFL best ball, like not even freaking close. But we have a lot more smart people thinking about it and looking at it, right? ETR people are deep into it. Leone and crew are grinding this. Leone, Dink, and Herzig, obviously Silva, Levitan, Peter Overzet, and Pat Kerrane, and Ben Gretsch, and the NBC guys, the Sharp Football guys. Like there's just tons of smart people that are doing the NFL best ball stuff, but there's not a lot about NBA yet, and it'll get there. But I'm super excited to kind of dig into some of the strategy of these NBA drafts, and it's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get bigger. And this $5 isn't the only contest that Underdog's going to drop, so something will be coming. Something will be coming for that. See, what did I say the first time? It wasn't sad riffraff that I said. Yeah, this is the only struggle. It'll get better. It's going to get better. We're more than a month away, right? More than a month away. So that's just kind of how it goes. Like the original Best Ball Mania 2 drafts took a while to fill too. So that's definitely the worst part of it though. So like I'll be sitting in the lobby, like kind of, I'm lucky that I just sit at this desk all day long. So I can kind of just hop in something, and whenever it fills, it fills. But that is definitely a little bit of the frustrating part. Hold on. What was this question? I ramble a lot and I jump around from topic to topic. So is it because, and that's the next football game? What because of that? Great question. Do you think so coming this evening, I recorded a video for kind of a 2021 NBA best ball primer. Are you excited about NBA? Because that's the next football game. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yes, I'm not particularly excited to watch that game. To watch that game tomorrow. So yeah, good call. Do you think stacking in basketball is going to be good? So anyway, yeah, I recorded this video, kind of like a first look. I think I called it a primer, just like super, super basic stuff. But I did get into a little bit of kind of strategic elements closer to the end. And I think stacking is it's hard to describe it for NBA. It's not how you would normally think about it in terms of correlation, right? It's very clear and obvious why you stack Kyler Murray with DeAndre Hopkins or Christian Kirk. Because, when Kyler throws a touchdown to him, they both get the points. When Trae Young gets an assist to John Collins, they both get the points, but the correlation isn't quite as strong. But I do think there's correlation things we can do within NBA that do make sense. I actually think the Trae Young one and John Collins can make sense. Trae Young is Trae Young, so nothing is really changing for him. But let's say Clint Capella gets dinged up and John Collins is playing more minutes at the 5, or just more minutes in general. The correlation can be better there. I think some better examples are situations where players can take advantage of an injury. The example I keep going to, just because it's the easiest one, is like if something were to happen to Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart both gain a lot of value. And so you're obviously not rooting for anything to happen for Jason Tatum. I'm actually going to draft a ton of Jason Tatum, so I'm definitely not rooting for that. But there are these contingent value correlations basically that you can bet on. Like if something were to happen to somebody, or the 76ers, if Ben Simmons gets traded, right? If Ben Simmons gets traded, Tobias Harris gets a nice big boost. Tyrese Maxey is a late round guy you probably want to get if Ben Simmons gets traded. And you might want Ben Simmons. You might actually want Ben Simmons because he might actually be better on whatever new team he goes to. He could be worse too. But you know what I mean? It's not about the stacking in terms of traditional correlation like we would get in baseball or in football or in hockey with stacking lines. It's a little bit more about like the correlated upside between guys, I think. I talked a little bit about on that video, which I'll hopefully get up on the YouTube channel later. I'm a huge basketball fan. Love watching both college and NBA. Played basketball my whole life, but I've never gotten into NBA DFS. NBA DFS is fun. It wears me down by the end of the season with all the guys sitting out and such. But NBA DFS that's the first DFS tournament I ever won was in NBA. Aaron Wilson, 49ers awarded Trenton. What's up with the Trenton Cannon? Why do teams keep picking up Trenton Cannon? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's totally true. Unless it's Dame. But there's nobody really available. There's nobody really out there, and maybe there's somebody that I don't foresee. I don't think they're trading for Beal, and I don't think the Dame thing is going to happen. But if it would be Dame, of course, agreed. Then you really just want Simmons. But I think where we stand right now on the Ben Simmons thing, maybe this will be old takes exposed. I think his trade value has really tanked. I think everyone is going to lowball the Sixers, and I think if they do, and he has made it known he wants out. If they do actually trade him, it's not going to be something that we really are all that excited about. I think it can be a boost. Also because Simmons isn't really a high usage player, but he's such a funny, unique player. You know, he's getting so many of the assists, a fair amount of rebounds. There's trickle down kind of effects to that. You know what I mean? He's maybe not even the best example. You know, if trying to think of another, you know, I mean, shit, if Beal got traded, they're not going to get anything back that can stop Spencer Dinwiddie from being a usage monster, or even like Kuz. Even though like they'll get a good young player back, but he's not going to be 40% Brad Beal usage. You know what I mean? But anyway, I think thinking through those situations, period, are an interesting way to yeah. I mean, it's like kind of funny, but like I don't think these kinds of things are. I think it could be the picks type thing that get some useful players that fit around Embiid, shooters mainly, maybe some defenders, which is what this is, right? Jade McDaniels, Malik Beasley's not really a defender, but he's a shooter, and some defenders and picks. Like I again, you can all takes expose me if they get Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal or something for Ben Simmons, but I don't think that's happening. And like, I remember at the early part of the offseason, on the Low Post on Zach Lowe's podcast, he talked about like it's Simmons' value has tanked so much, like you're not even getting Dame for him. The interesting thing about it, you might have to include Maxey in a Simmons deal if you want to get one of the superstars, which would in turn probably mean good things for Maxey. Anyway, we're getting really deep in the weeds on NBA trades, and now my brain is, you know, the wheels are spinning. But those are like interesting situations in like the NBA, like that we don't think about those kinds of things in NFL, nor should we. But they do matter in the NBA, and they create Simmons and Cat would be that would actually be a pretty darn good pair, given the defensive limitations of Cat and the defensive limitations of that team, and the spacing that Cat provides, the spacing that Ant provides, the spacing that D'Lo, you know, maybe D'Lo gets moved, I don't know, but I would be pretty down for that pairing. Actually, Simmons would crush in Minnesota. I'm kind of interested in scooping some Simmons, by the way. Let's see. Was really interested to see. Yeah, I think I only got him on one team, Jalen Green, and I'm really upset about it. KPJ hasn't gone up quite as much, so I'm probably going to try to scoop some KPJ, scoop some Jason Tate, get some of the Rockets maybe that haven't risen quite as much, because Jalen Green's definitely getting a rise after the Wall news. For NBA, do you think there's any edge to games played during the playoff weeks? Looks like it ranges from 6 to 8 games per team. It's such a hard thing to plan for, but yes. I mean, there's definitely an edge to games played during the playoff weeks. It's hard to plan for. That does give you added benefit in like the stacking and correlation thing we talked about earlier. If you can get there and your guys are still healthy and you have multiple guys going on a team, now maybe you get multiple guys, you get I don't know. I keep thinking about the Spurs because I'm heavily targeting the Spurs, but DeJounte and Keldon are the new stars of the Spurs, and you get there, and they're young guys. Maybe they're fighting for the play-in or something like that. I like some of those kinds of ideas. Let's see. Forgot to talk about tend to lean towards the upside of the low ownership on Tyson over 12th. Yeah. I think that's a totally fair assessment. Tyson's ownership is total cumulative ownership is so much lower than Henderson. So like the edge, it's going to be hard. Like if Henderson is the smash, people were still taking him in the 5th, 6th round, even in Best Ball Mania 2. And so if he really smashes, you're still competing with more teams. Granted, the 12th round teams are better, but if he's like really the smash, like you may still make it to the playoffs, and you still have to compete against those teams. If Tyson is the smash, you're still not going to have to face that many other Tyson teams. So I think I agree. I think that's a good call. Yeah, I started doing battle royales last week. They are fun. They are fun. If you just correlate at all, if you just think through two things, if you just think through, positional value and positional depth, right? There's 6-man drafts. So like quarterback is really a non-issue. Tight end might be an issue. Running back is really not that much of an issue. I mean, I guess there's, the top tier, but even then, those guys weren't the high, there was running backs for cheaper smashing, right? Mixon, Chubb. So if you think through kind of the positional value thing and then just do some correlation and so it's 6, it's only 6 people. There's like really good plays going undraft, like really talk about low ownership. And even you can go crazy in the 5th round, not even just the 6th round. There's like really low owned plays at the end of those battle royale drafts. So that's a fun kind of game theory, bro. Creates decent edge. I think so. Yeah. So it's just a snake draft, a 6-man snake draft. You pick all of your starters. So it's not, I mean, it's best ball, but you don't draft any bench players. You draft a quarterback, a running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. Is that right? Quarterback, running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. In a 6-man draft, but then your draft competes against everyone. So how many? I don't know how many are in there for a given week. I think last week it was like $25K to first place or something. Trying to pull it up. Battle Royale week 2, $20 entry, $100K in total prices. So 5.7, thousand entries. And yeah, you draft your 6-man, quarterback, running back, 2 wide receivers, tight end, flex. Hopefully going to be able to do some battle royale streams. I do think it's it. Oh yeah, me too, man. Me too, Paul. I missed the draft days. I mean, I was not good at this. I might not be good at this now, but I was really not good at this back in the draft days. But they were fun. Other people were worse. I was drafting 12th round Justice Hill and drafting Dante Pettis, and I could still make money at this. That's how bad other people were. But yeah, there was a lot of fun contests like that. I think Underdog's going to do a really good job. Going to do a really good job of contests. Yeah, man, people are loving the flavor of the week. People are loving Elijah, Tyson. Trying to think of who else. I mean, David Montgomery won the first round of the first draft that I did. There's a lot of interesting strategy, I feel like, for the in-season ones. Like because it does get a little thin at the end. I mean, I did a stream earlier today, and I think my team, it's not good. My team was not good. So, you got to draft better than I did. But I think that overall, it's like nothing but an all overreactions or underreactions. There's very few like appropriate reactions in these in-season drafts. And so that's the big thing is like, I found Antonio Gibson's week 1 role to be one of the biggest bright spots of the entire week. Not David Montgomery. David Montgomery, he looked good. He got 100 yards and a touchdown. Like, great. But like his role was actually concerning. It's we should be concerned, even though he had a good box score. Same thing as Josh Jacobs. We should be more concerned about those guys now, having seen the role that the other player in that Damian Williams was the passing down back. David Montgomery is an early down grinder on a team that might not be very good. Josh Jacobs is in a split backfield with Kenyon Drake playing like third downs. And so we should be more, even though those guys put up good scores, even better scores than Antonio Gibson, I felt like we should be more bullish on Antonio Gibson. He saw 51% of the team's total offensive volume. He was the leader in targets, and he got 20 carries. He had 25 opportunities in 49 offensive plays. Absolutely insane. But he got no bump because he didn't put up a huge game. And then the guys who put up decent games, even though their role was concerning, got bumps. And then guys like Elijah Mitchell, who absolutely get a bump. I'm excited for Elijah Mitchell, but we also shouldn't kid ourselves that there isn't uncertainty around the situation. Especially over the course, like maybe for this week, you feel fairly confident in Elijah Mitchell, but over the course of the season, which is what best ball is, obviously, you don't feel amazing about his ability to be like a true difference maker for your fantasy team over the course of the season, not at this new cost. If you have him in the 20th round, you're like, yeah, who cares? This is free money. But at pick 44, like Ethan says, the guy just took him at pick 44. That's kind of silly to me. All right, yes, 100%. Definitely. Both NBA and Underdog. Although maybe I will just end up being wrong on a lot of these guys, but I think there's a lot of guys like pick 100 and later on Underdog that I think are underpriced. Mostly a lot of these young dudes. I think people want the certain veterans once they get a little bit later in drafts, and I personally think that's the wrong approach. And so there's some younger guys that have potential to grow in their role that I like. We're working on it. Tonight, we'll have the first video. I'm working on finishing up the rankings. This is my 4th stream of the day, so if my eyes look a little bloodshot, my eyes look bloodshot. And I might need a nap after this, but we're working on getting all the NBA content cranked out. Yeah. Underdog over DraftKings competition. It's not particularly close. Like I said, I think NBA is kind of in the spot where the market hasn't fleshed itself out yet. I mean, just between you guys and me, I'm not sure when Kawhi Leonard is going to play. And he goes in it. Dogs also hate Kawhi Leonard. I'm not sure when Kawhi Leonard is going to play. He goes in like the third round. Both sites. Anecdotally, it seems the ADP. So like for NFL, so like the NFL Week 2 contest, like Ravens, Raiders. The Ravens was interesting, I guess. They didn't get much bump. I don't recall. Maybe Hollywood and Sammy did, but Andrews and Lamar didn't get. Andrews and Lamar didn't get a major bump. I'm trying to think about the other primetime games. The Rams probably, yeah. Thursday night games, Cowboys, yeah. The quarterback stuff. We got to talk about the quarterback stuff on DraftKings. These people are nuts. Gronk, yeah. Gronk, Montgomery. Also, it helps that these guys put up good box scores. So it's also a little bit hard to say if it was the primetime thing or the box score thing or both. I don't really know what the right answer is. I mean, Gronk put up a monster score. I posted it in the Discord. It was so funny. Gronk put up a monster score. And let me think about this now. It was this guy took David Montgomery and Dak at the 1-2 turn. And at the 3-4 turn, it was, oh, damn it. It was Gronk and Tyson. In the first week 2 draft that I did. Crazy stuff. Stop it. Yeah. Jamal. Yeah. I mean, Jamal, we're like certain isn't going to play for most of the year. And he's like a mid-round pick on both sides. Clay, too. Clay, the news is they're targeting Christmas Day. And he gets he's heavily drafted. Like, I'm literally not drafting any of those guys. Who is drafting these guys? It was like who is drafting Russell Gage? That's what I feel about these. So who has been drafting Russell Gage? If you drafted Russell Gage in the 10th round, you're not feeling too good. And that's how you're going to feel when you draft these guys that are going to miss like the whole season in NBA. Like, what is going on? Yeah, geez. And they're going to light it up again this week too. No, you're not crazy. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. That's why I'm doing these. That's why I'm trying to get in a ton of these drafts. Hold on. I think I've done 8. I'm trying to pull it up. I'm eight deep on Underdog in the NBA $5. It's a grind. I don't know if I'll get to 150 just because it takes a while to fill, like you said. But I'm trying to get a bunch in there. Like, I'm willing to be totally wrong about like some of the guys, like the later round guys, or even be wrong about some value. I feel fine about the guys that I'm targeting at a bunch of different tiers. The late round guys, I'm taking a lot of flyers on a lot of young dudes that I don't think the market is as. I think I've created the ADP on a couple of guys. They had no ADP when I first started drafting, and I keep drafting them. And they now have an ADP. And I'm fine being wrong about those guys because I think so many people are drafting like these just bad, like injured players, players that have no chance of like helping you in your lineup. I would rather be wrong about an 18th round. 18th. You can tell I'm still in football brain. I would rather be wrong about a 16th round pick. That's like a young dude that's not going to do anything for me for most of the season, maybe the whole season, then take Kawhi Leonard in the 3rd round, or even then take Duncan Robinson in the 14th round. Like, Duncan Robinson is never helping you. So what's really the difference? 15. Good work. Yeah, so tomorrow, the first NBA stream of the year. I think I'm gonna do. I think I want to do Battle Royale on Friday. Might do like a little bit of kind of like a hodgepodge almost. But I think Battle Royale would be a fun one to do some Battle Royale drafts on Friday. Trying to get somebody in for NHL because I am not the NHL. I've considered doing an NFL draft, doing an NHL draft live on stream before I do any research. Because I follow the NHL like very, 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 very loosely. I'm a pretty big Blues fan. I'm from St. Louis. I'm a pretty big Blues fan. The Blues Stanley Cup was one of the most fun sports moments I've ever had in my life. But I am not anywhere near an NHL sharp. So I've considered putting myself out there and embarrassing myself for the clicks, for the engagement, for people to send it out there and dunk on me. Cheers, mate. Happy week 2. How's everybody's this is a safe place. This is a safe place. How are everybody's best ball team? How are you feeling about your best ball teams after 1 week? I feel pretty good. My underdog teams look really shitty, honestly. They look shitty. My DraftKings teams are a printing press, though. I feel good. I don't know how you guys are feeling. It was interesting. Yahoo's did Yahoo just have like 12 mans, or what were? I didn't play on Yahoo. I honestly didn't pay that close of attention to Yahoo. Were they just like 12-man leagues or something like that? I imagine if you that's something that I really want to 10 mans. Okay. That's something that I really want to think about more next year during the off season. The problem is just time commitment. If I'm trying to do a lot of drafts, right? Like 1,000 tournament drafts or something, it's hard to fit in like I'll call these cash game drafts, right? It's hard to fit them in, but I feel like investing the time on FanDuel and Yahoo or whatever other sites exist for those is like will be a super, super profitable venture. And so I'm trying to figure out how I want to attack that next year. Got some time, obviously, but I just feel like putting some money into that, it's like a high yield CD. A high yield CD. I don't know. I can like guarantee 20% ROI or something like that on these crappy 10-man and 12-man contests. Let's hope, Jake. Let's hope. Uneasy but hopeful. I feel like that is a very good way. That is a very good way to put it. Uneasy but hopeful. So here's why I feel uneasy, but also here's why I feel hopeful. I'll hit both parts here. There were guys that I'm totally out on that smashed in week 1 and maybe even had usage that made me feel a little bit concerned. I didn't draft Brandon Cooks, not once. 0 Brandon Cooks. I feel okay, sticking to my priors on him because the bet wasn't that he wouldn't be good week 1. The bet was, will he be good in week 7? Will he be good in weeks 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17? But that wasn't very fun. And then Gronk and AB, I was pretty out on those guys. I have just a couple of Gronk and a couple of AB teams total across all my teams. And that was not fun to watch. And I thought they looked good too. So that really sucked. So I feel uneasy about those, but hopeful. Like, honestly, everything that I like took a stand on, I haven't changed. If anything, I'm probably more hopeful on what, like, even if the results weren't perfect, like Antonio Gibson, I feel good. I'm trying to think, Cowboys obviously feel good. I mean, the 49ers, the Mostert thing sucked. And obviously the Ayuk thing wasn't very fun, but 41 points and like just dominated a Lions team like they should. I still feel good about that bet. Trying to think if there was anything else. Obviously, Debo is my highest owned 49er of all of them, so that was really fun. But uneasy but hopeful is such a good way to put it. Late in the offseason, $50 and $100 drafts fill up. Yahoo also has a weekly payout for first input. Oh, okay. I like that. That's good to know. Maybe Yahoo will be a focus for those. See, I didn't even know that. That's good. That's good stuff. Very good point. If you did the Kelsey Waller thing, the only thing I'll say, what do you think about the contrarian point would be the people with Hawkinson are beating you, or like could be beating you. Probably not. I don't know. I'm spitballing. But like Hawkinson was close enough to those guys. What was your biggest roster building change from April to August NFL structural question? How fragile I took running back. And so I would say that actually went up to a point to right before camp or maybe during camp. When I first started, in April and May, I was just like everybody figuring out, you spend your first X amount of drafts kind of figuring out your favorite strategies, figuring out the player pool, figuring out ADP and everything. And I just started to figure out how much I preferred these, like, not just like fragile build into, like everybody talks about hyper fragile running back in terms of the quantity. I was taking fragile in terms of the archetype of running back. So that's what got me to Darrell Henderson. That's what got me to Latavius Murray, which obviously wasn't very good. But that's what got me, so like take my anchor, either 0 RB with probably more fragile backs than other people would feel comfortable with, and anchor hero RB with more fragile backs than people. Like I literally have early Best Ball Mania 2 teams with, like, let's just say Gibson, and then like Pollard, Henderson, Madison, Chuba, or whatever. And being really fragile, especially like before, for as long as we have a bunch of lead time, but like basically for injuries to happen, being really fragile with running back, I think, is the approach that I'll take next year. Because when you draft it, everybody wants to feel comfortable when they draft that team. So if you can draft it and like you feel really uncomfortable with those running backs, I actually feel like, especially when it's in April, May, June, that's actually a good thing because there's so much time for look what's already happened, dude. Akers, Dobbins, ETN, then Gus, and Mostert, right? All hurt already. We're 1 week in. It's like, and the benefits of if you got those situations right was huge. I didn't. It's really funny because I'm so on the 49ers. And I have a little more Mostert than I have Sermon. But I don't actually have a ton of those running backs. And I kind of went back and looked, and when the Mostert injury happened, I was like, oh no. Oh no. Because I had some Akers, I had some Gus, I had ETN, and like you just don't want to see the injuries keep happening. I had Judy. You don't want to see those injuries keep happening. And when Mostert happened, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm going to have just so many dead teams. And I didn't have quite as many of those two backs as I thought I would. So I do have Ayuk, so I guess it's not exactly a total win, but I don't have a ton of Sermon. You could guarantee higher than that in cash inside. Makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, that hurt. Judy wasn't like a big stand or anything for me, like total ownership wise. But I was so excited because so much of my Judy was early in the offseason. Like Judy was an 8th round pick when we started doing all this, like going back to the, like what changed from April to August. I was drafting Judy in the 8th round when we first started. He got into the 5th. So I stopped taking him in the 5th because I have him in the 8th. So it was like, he's not like a super high exposure player for me, but all of my Judy is like 8th, 7th round Judy. And so it's like, that I felt like that was a part of an edge that I built for myself. And now that goes away, obviously. But what can you do? No, dude, you're not a donkey. There was absolutely reasons to draft those guys. I will say I liked them better on DraftKings. I thought they were more appropriately priced on. I don't know about Gronk. Gronk was kind of expensive on DraftKings. However, I totally got the thesis of the play of all of those guys. AB was the one I was the most concerned with not taking much. But I just really liked some of the wide receivers in that range. It was hard for me to take the dive on the older guy, but I do think he can. I do think he can burn me. I took a lot of Lance and Sermon, then got scared a bit and took a lot of most. No, it feels tough, but I think you're right to. That's how I handled. So I have the most Debo and Lance of the 49ers. That was my preference in terms of most exposed 49ers players, those two guys. But I wanted to have literally everybody. Now it looks stupid because I don't have Elijah Mitchell, but I wanted to have everybody. And so I think you are right to do that. I don't know who of the – I don't even know – we don't even know – I know it was all Debo, right, this week, and Mitchell, I guess. But we don't I don't think we had any real reason to feel like we knew who was going to be the smash on the 49ers. But I think we had good reason to believe that they were going to be a smash, and I don't feel like that has changed. It's just been kind of an awkward run out so far. Yeah, I don't think canon matters for Sermon, but I do think, this is a tough scene for Sermon right now. It's not good. It's not good. Yeah, earlier the change to the previous question. Earlier in the year, I would definitely hammer a wide receiver as a backup. Will obviously step into a role more to backups. Yeah, 100%. Totally agree, Max. Totally agree. That's such a good bit. 14% Brady. So yeah. See, that makes sense. I wasn't on Brady, which also looks stupid. I'm hoping that was a Cowboys thing, but I wasn't on Brady either. Whoops. Yeah, and that's the other thing about the cash game contest is in tournaments, in Best Ball Mania, if you lose Mostert, it's probably dead. In the 10-man, you can still it's the same. You can advance a Best Ball Mania 2 team with Mostert. Just you're really not going to win at all. Assuming I guess you could get lucky, but You're probably not going to win it all, but like you don't need to win a big contest in those cash game teams, those cash game contests. That's what I'm saying. I mean, what the hell is going on in San Francisco? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, Leone doesn't get dragged. Leone is mega sharp and like one of the most trusted resources in this entire space. He doesn't get dragged. Exactly. We all love Mike. He's the man. So tomorrow, noon Eastern, if you are in the NBA streets, even if you're not in the NBA streets, you need to get the hell in the NBA streets because it's a lot of fun. Tomorrow at noon Eastern will be the very first Spike Week NBA best ball stream. And I'm working on a ton of stuff. I'm working on getting NHL stuff up. Not me, because like I said, I don't know NHL. I'm working on bringing somebody in to do some NHL stuff for you NHL people. I am working on getting NBA rankings up. I'm working on getting a bunch of NBA content up. I'm working on getting the NFL rankings up to date so that if we continue to have, I talked about this on the stream earlier, if we continue to have these, we have this week 2 contest. If we continue to have week 3, week 4, week 5, the rankings will be always live, basically, for anyone to use. And then I will hopefully be able to do then a stream each time we have, like if DraftKings does another week 3 contest, we can draft another week 3 contest and we can keep drafting NBA. Maybe we can do some NHL. Maybe I'll bring somebody on that actually knows NHL that can make me not look like a total donkey in NHL. But man, the best ball streets are live and popping right now. It's crazy. I knew that it was going to be a thing during like when the season got here. I didn't quite expect it to be like this. Yeah, last year, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. What's up with is 45 your favorite number? Or are you 45 years old? Or do you have a 4 and a 5-year-old child? Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong. I think, they did like a week 4 and then they did a couple of different in season, but not week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. I'll be fascinated to see if they do the week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, which would be good for us. I know it replaces the letters, but I thought that there would be meaning to it. Maybe you're like MJ, you're like Jordan, bringing back the 45. I'll be fascinated to see if DraftKings does it every single week. I think that would be really good for us. It'd be also like not just good for EV wise, profitability wise, but really good for like our portfolios and stuff like that. So I think that will be interesting to see if they do that. But like I said, tons of stuff coming. Also, other thing I needed to mention, if anybody's watching this, that is in the drafters contest that we have. I just got the data from drafters, so I'm going to get that leaderboard updated. So long story short, I got about a bunch of different things I'm trying to get up over the next 24 hours on the site or on YouTube here. So tons of stuff in the works. I am going to get out of here. I love you guys. You rock. Tomorrow, noon Eastern, make sure you like this video and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you get notified when we're doing these streams in case you're not in the Discord or on Twitter or whatever. For me, for everybody, all you crazy people, sick best ball degenerates, talking best ball in the middle of NFL season, you guys rock. I will catch you guys tomorrow. See ya.